Hello friends, happy Aloha Friday. I feel like so much is happening and it's just like our bodies and our minds can't settle into, just metabolize it all and settle in. And this is one thing that I absolutely wanted to look at, our friend Elijah Cummigs. Very hard. Huge loss. And yesterday I couldn't feel out or sense his energies, but I knew that I wanted to do something. And then I felt his energy gently come into the kitchen and say, okay, let's look at it. And because my idea is that I wanted to do a Taroscope for his time of death and also look at his birth chart to share with all of you. And then he said to me, I could get a lot more done on this side. No worries. And he's like ready to go. I know that many of you have commented, and thank you for, it seems to be a general consensus out there that, oh, look at that, the moon. The general consensus is that there's a lot of people who feel are connecting the incident with the break into his house and him possibly being poisoned. And I had commented right away that when I looked at the charts from the break-in, that I didn't see that. I saw a failed operation, but I did see I looked at his natal chart and looked at the events, and when I just quickly glanced over them, I was concerned for him. I was concerned for his health as we approached eclipse click dates. Well, yesterday, that was a can opener day. It really hit us hard yesterday, and it hit his chart for good reason. Saturn is the planet, the icy planet of structure. This is Saturn right here. This is the glyph. Saturn is also known as Father Time. Saturn gives us structure. It gives us a structure of the universe. It gives us the structure of everything, to our cells, to how we map things out, with latitude, longitude, the structure of all our ecosystems, structure of our speech, the structure of our bodies, the structure of the energies of our galaxies and how the planets relate to one another. That's Saturn. And Saturn is also about cycles, beginnings and endings, as it comes in like 27-year cycles is about the time that you get your Saturn return. If you've noticed, maybe sometimes every 7 years or every 14 years, there's a big jolt in your life. That's usually Saturn at triggering something in your chart, and it's triggering it at, like we have our quarter moons. Well, there's every 7 years is like the quarters that Saturn makes, triggers a birth chart or a point that's set in time. You'll feel it every 7 years. But that's not true for everyone, because some people have really good aspects with Saturn, so they don't feel as clobbered by it by other people. But if you have a hard aspect in your natal chart, Saturn is going to be extra tough on you. But it's also because there's an intention there to get something right and the structure's correct. Usually with Saturn, that's the place in our chart where we feel the most limited and we have the most obstacles. But it's also, when you look at the grand scheme of things, is where you've made the most progress in your life. I call it shame to fame. But I digress. I want to get back to Elijah. Oh, one last thing about... Hey, just a second. Hey, shh. What are you doing? There's nobody here. It's just us. Come on. Here, sit. Okay, sorry about that. Are we still rolling? Yeah, so when Elijah Cummigs that break-in with his house, the moon was in Gemini. At the time of his death, the moon was in Gemini. And his birth chart, the moon was in Gemini. Gemini is such a prominent force for him, and I think that we, the people, respond to him so well because of his moon being in Gemini. That is where, that's how he communicates. That's his presence in his neighborhoods. That's how we, the people, relate to him and feel like he's a friend. And even though I did his natal chart, for a 12 o'clock, a noon time, because I don't know what it is, with his moon being in the first house in Gemini, it shares the sign with Taurus. I'm guessing that this is pretty close to his birth chart because it makes sense with the death chart. But he was a rising Taurus. Taurus, think comfort, think the card of the Empress. He's just so rich and abundant in love and care. And with his moon there in the first house in Gemini with people, he has a lot of value. He places a ton of value in communities and people. He feels that they're worthy of being known and being prominent in the world, that they are prominent players. And he has a moon that trines his natal Venus in Uranus and Aquarius, and Aquarius is the humanitarian, for the better good, the innovator, and we saw that in his lifetime. And so you can see a lot of his qualities, his unique qualities, and his driving force and his power in this natal chart. I think it's his, but I don't know for sure. But when he passed away, the moon again was in Gemini. The sun was 23 degrees Libra, which is that like can opener eclipse. His midheaven, if this is indeed his birth chart, was 23 degrees Capricorn. So the sun was squaring his midheaven. There's tension right there in getting to the top of your chart where you're going. And the sun is in hard square to Pluto and all the eclipse points. I could go on and talk about that, but I don't see anything related to poisoning with him. When I saw his chart last summer, I was thinking about stress on the heart. And then when the little bit of reports I've heard about his health status is that he had some long-standing health issues. He was in hospice. I don't know if he had cancer at all, but there were absolutely heart issues. And they said he had a procedure that they had complications with. And I'm guessing that it's heart and his circulatory system, because that is what was the most compromised at the time of death. But nonetheless, I just wanted to reassure you that's what I was seeing. And I wanted to do this Taroscope upon his time of death. Oh, he is really listening to me intently. Because Elijah, if your last message, we can do more messages, but I'm just saying from the point that you passed away and your intentions on that which you want to keep fulfilling and doing, what you would like us to most know, that is how I'd like to lay out this Taroscope. So you can go ahead and cut the deck and lay these out. So we're just gonna, if you want to start here on the ascendant, 25 degrees Leo, put a card in the first house. Any secrets? Secret enemies? Your hopes, wishes, and dreams, Elijah. Your moon was in the 10th house over Baltimore. Oh, I got 3 cards. He's telling me keep them there. Shining down over Baltimore, the moon. In the 9th house of lands, far away. Other cultures. Law enforcement. The 8th house of life and death, transformation. 7th house of we the people. The 6th house of service and military. The 5th house of the sun. Leo usually represents the president. The 4th house of home and our defenses. The 3rd house of community, communications. The 2nd house of value, worth. And on the ascendant you have, the 9 of Wands. Does this mean the whole thing's going to be, is this all upside down? Okay, so my Taroscope, all these are going to be upside down. Yeah. So, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. 9 of Wands on the ascendant. The most important thing he wants everybody to know is to go the distance. Do not give up. He worked until his final hours that we're going to make it to the top. All of us together. We're going to do it. Need you guys to stay focused. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep going. We're getting there. 12th house of secrets, hidden enemies. What do you want us to know? We're going to turn this over. The Page of Wands. It's a snake. Be careful and know who your enemies are. You can't always be trusting of them, no matter how nice they look. Regarding the United States of America, do not be tempted. We might see the flowers and the offerings, but there's always a price when they're hidden. So your hidden enemies, United States of America, be aware. Your hopes, wishes, and dreams. This was the North Node. It's unexpected. The sign of Cancer is there. We have, these are all upside down. The 4 of Wands, which is usually the White House. But it's also a celebration. I'm sorry, this one is not. No, this is not the 4 of Wands. The 4 of Wands looks very similar to this because it has wands laid out like this, and then kind of like stained glass inside. So this is very similar. This one, we have the 9 of Pentacles in the 11th house of hopes, wishes, and dreams. We have a wealth. We have a wealth of opportunity. It's all encased. It feels like it's so hard to get to. Our precious American dreams and our values. They are being guarded. Look at these feathers, like a nest. They're being protected right now. Do not worry. It's being protected. It's being guarded. At the right time, we can open this up, but for now, know that these things at home are protected, our most important treasured things. And that also, everyone know what that is for you and your family and protect that. Hopes, wishes, dreams, the Hermit. To reflect. We have another 9. To reflect. Be aware. This tortoise shell, our defenses. You will have a light along your way as we go forward for our nation. The flame might seem like it's going to flicker out, but even still, you're still well protected. The 8 of Pentacles. What a glorious web we weave. We have to reweave our web with exact and certainty. We cannot be isolated, but we have to take such care individually on this rebuilding process. We have to take as much care there as we take protecting our goods and protecting ourselves. In the 10th house, the moon shining down on we the people near the nation's capital. There's hope. He says there's so much hope. We are not lost. We are so far from there that he was really worried for a while, but the radical changes that have come on so quickly lately, that there is so much hope, that we're all stars. All of us are stars. We all have a star on the flag of the United States of America. That's the star and the hope that you abide by for our nation. There's 50 stars, not one. 50. In the 9th house, law enforcement, lands far away, philosophy, the Wheel of Fortune. Now that is promising to see. The Wheel of Fortune is about timing, but it's also about opportunity. And I like that this is a dream catcher. Between the sun and the moon and eclipses, he's nodding. Yeah, eclipses. This is going to become a very fortunate time for us. We have to take care of all of this, though. We can't, it's like everything has to be turned over, like the waters in a lake from winter to spring to summer. There's a thawing, and then the waters turn. The lower waters come up, the higher waters go down, and the lakes turn over. And we're kind of in that type of process right now, and it seems kind of chaotic, but it's being regulated. Things will work themselves out. Like this owl, we need to be wise and keep our eyes on these things, but there's a world of fortune coming our way as we turn things over. In the 8th house of life-death transformation, the Empress. His life was so grand. The United States of America is more grand, stronger than anything in the history of the world. That this Empress roots through our trials and our heartache, it's a lot of stuff is happening beneath the surface that's making us root even deeper that we cannot see. This is where transformation is grabbing root right now, even though we can't see results. The strength of our restructuring is immense. It's like this tree of life, its root network, it is tapping everyone beneath their feet. So everybody on the outside maybe looking at America is like, they lost their mind, they don't know what they're doing. We seem like we're untethered. We're not. We're just restructuring beneath the surface and nobody can see it. And it's going to take time. It takes time for a wonderful tree to grow like this. But it's like we're changing at the root of who we are. And personally, I would concur with that because we have the Saturn Pluto conjunction coming up. And this makes me feel better. In the 7th house of we the people, who are typically the opposition of the Donald. Oh, I think this has to be turned over. The King of Swords. I'm still fighting for you. I'm still on your side. I can charge forth and get things done and whisper in people's ears and push papers along and because something's been cracked open, he can swoop in there like a laser, get it done. And that's what has hurt him so much in the last couple years, just the agony of dealing with Donald and being in Congress and how difficult it's been working with the other side. And he's like, no, I'm ready. He gets to do the work now that he has been wanting to do so badly. Just fierce on our side too. The 6th house of military and service, he has Ace of Wands. Phenomenal service. Phenomenal. He has got a vision, an idea. He's already, I don't know who he's working with right now, but he's already working to right the wrongs of everything, from Syria, from everything. For people who serve in the military, for people that serve in public office, there is a cavalry out there that is determined to root out all this garbage. And from the White House to Congress to our states, and business is out. They're out. They're done. Get out. No, that's all done with. We're having a new start, the Fool. We are having a new beginning. Get ready for us. When you see glimpses of the new becoming with service, get ready and help those people who are out there. Do not trust them all that are out there, because some of them seem like they're the new ones out there, but they are really the opportunity of the flowers, but still are encased by a snake. You will know this when you see it. Do not be asking for the most perfect candidate. It will never happen. For someone to get as far as they are in public office, there is going to be money involved. There is going to be some degree of corruption. There are people, though, who have this balance, that have to be able to balance a portion of that, because that's where we are right now, to get it to tip to where it needs to be, if that makes sense. You will never find the purest, most perfect. It doesn't exist. It does not exist, he says. The person with the fire, who is willing to go for all here in the U.S. and all for the nation and the globe. We're part of a globe. Yes, we are part of the globe. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, because people on the other side of the globe feeding us disinformation are saying globalism is bad. They say that because they're embracing globalism and now they are benefiting from it. No. Be careful of what messages are being repeated. Please, he says, please. Wow. 5th house of the sun. The Chariot. The sun is coming quickly. These eclipses are happening quickly. There is such a desire out there. The Chariot, this is like very earthy. Horses are very earthy, and they scare easily, but it's because they're so in tune. They can feel the energies coming up through the earth and what's in the air. The entire nation is ready. The entire nation is ready to go. Like before, we said people are getting rerouted down deep, but on the surface, it looks like they're not tethered to. No, there is a swelling that's happening, and things are going to turn and flip faster than we realize. The 4th house. This is home. Our defenses are one another. Our defenses, 2 of Cups, in agreement with one another. We may disagree, and the thorns are okay. But we can still be each other's keeper. But we can still disagree, because that brings dimension. It makes us bigger, and we are not going to go where we suppress. It's all inclusive. And we're going to have to agree to disagree, but we're in this together. And people are much more unified than the media or anyone wants you to know. In the 3rd house of communities and neighborhoods, the Five of Wands. Now that looks like sticks blowing in the wind. Yes, there's a lot of isolation and uncertainty out there in our communication and in our networks and our communities. We're at odds. That's where we are. But we're not so far from here. From this to transform to the 4th house, it's not that long of a wait. There's a lot of energy in this 3rd house with the sun, how we love and how we communicate. We have that in Scorpio, which is kind of like X-ray vision. Everyone is getting a good look at what people are really doing, obstructing government. But that too, things are changing. 2nd house of what we value, gains income. We have 6. The 6 of Wands. The shared celebration of making it. Transforming into a beautiful butterfly. This is the 6 of Wands. We're all transforming. And we'll all get there. It's scary because right now it seems like this is around us and we're in these little cocoons and we're isolated and it's hard to come out, but we're protected. But we're getting there. We're getting there. And it's just going to be a magnificent time. In the 1st house of identity, we are the Page of Cups. We are each other's good news. We're all miracles in the flesh. We're all, yeah, he's saying, like you always say, we were all meant to be here. And that's the good news. We are all meant to be here right now together. He is just fired up and ready to go. He seems like he just got such a great night of sleep. He is excited. He's so proud of all things that people are doing to honor him. He's afraid though, because he just wants to get to work. But there's so much celebration. Everyone just try to tap into that energy of the good, because there's so much good on our way. Don't get lost. Don't get lost. Go the distance. We were all meant to be here. Oh. Thank you, Congressman. Thank you so much, sir. So much love to you. We have one heck of a warrior angel joining the cavalry on behalf of us, of we the people. I think that maybe that's why sometimes the good ones go, because they need to do more work than their physical bodies are so limited to. What a wonderful person. Thanks, Elijah. You can stop by anytime. Love your messages. Love you. Okay. Thanks, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I thought it was lovely. God bless.